right, good morning and welcome to our series on the voice of diaspora. And we are so honored this morning, this afternoon, this day, wherever you are, to be expecting in our midst Otunba Akinboboye, whom I will be introducing to some of us. To some, we will be representing him because he's a man that needs not too much of an introduction because his work speaks for him. He has done great works that you and I will be marveled at for one singular human being to have such a magnanimous vision of the diaspora, even when he wasn't popular. Clearly, you know, that's unusual. So we are so honored that we will be bringing him on the panel so that you all that are with us today, I know there's some of you that are with us today, but this goes global because it's going to go on the YouTube and so many social media channels so that you know the work that has been done, the work that he's doing, and his heart for the diaspora. I'm not going to speak for him, but you all probably know what he's doing already, and there's some great things that are cooking in the oven that us as diaspora, especially our African American brothers and sisters who truly want to engage with their continent. This is a platform we want to ensure that you know about because you want to engage with your continent, with your state, with whatever you want to do with someone of integrity, someone who is a doer, not just a talker, because there are people who can do all the talking and they clearly struggle when it comes to delivery. But we know the platform of Otunba Akinboboye is such that his works actually precedes him in so many areas. He's represented the state, the nation, the world. I mean, he has been duly recognized for his great work. And I'm using this as a preamble to await a few more people so I can just give you a few nuggets about who he is. Every time I get a chance to talk about Otunba Akinboboye, who is also a mentor to me, I blush. I get excited because I know that there are not too many people like him. Someone who is well-read. I mean, he has his educational degrees, which I will read to you. Not only that, he's very well leveraged in the world. He understands the power of hard work. Work, not hard talk. Some people do hard talking. Yes, they talk it up, but he does work. And there's so many scenarios I have experienced how he has really turned things around. So I'm not talking from what I Googled about him. I'm talking from what I experienced with him. So it's my pleasure that we will be receiving him in a few minutes. And once we get that done, I will bring him on and you will be happy that you have an opportunity to meet such an individual who is of repute, who is of worth, and who works and who leads by example, who is a role model to so many people across the globe. Everywhere he relates and represents, he thinks about Africa. I call him Papa Africa. This is someone who sees the possibilities in Africa, even way before it became cool for people to be talking about Africa emerging and all of that. He's been doing that. He saw that way back and he didn't just see it, he did things about it. He had our African brothers and African American brothers and sisters. He invites them, he creates a platform for them to be able to pretty much come and have a taste of their Africa, where they can take their rightful positions. And I'm sure as soon as we get him on board, you will be able to hear from him. Most importantly, for those of us who are in the diaspora, whether you are African American, whether you are African born, or even those of us who are on the continent, connections are very important. And there's so many initiatives that he has created that's working, that can work even more, that some of us don't know about. So this platform is to create that opportunity for us not only to hear from him, but to hear about the good work and to follow him and leverage the resources that he has created. I mean, he has created so many resources that when I had the privilege of actually getting to see some of the great work he has done in the likes of the Lacampine Tropicana Resort and the history of how that came about, I was flabbergasted. I was just amazed that a young human being, then he was young, with all due respect, Uncle, he was young then, but his vibrant spirit, his experience, his exposure, his intellect, his strength and confidence allowed him to know that, you know what, I can create such a resort. I can create such a city, because it's really a city. I can create such a city in a place where it was not really the signature of all eyes at that point, but he came there, created it, made the community a community whereby he employs, creates employment, creates possibilities to the community. And again, you just have to visit Lacampine to see some of the physical work, not to talk about the things that, same things that he's doing in other nations. I've had the privilege also to see some of the replica of what he's doing in other states, in Nigeria, in other countries, in Africa. So I know that by the time we pick one or two nuggets, we're going to get out of that feeling sorry for ourselves. We're going to have that spirit of possibility to know that, yes, one man can start something great. And today, that's what we're talking about. If you've never visited Lacampine Tropicana Resort, you need to visit. You need to visit. If it wasn't for COVID-19, my sisters and I, my American sisters and I, and some other team, we had planned our trip to have our sister time out this year. But again, the Lord knows better. I happen to have taken a tour to prepare all of us for that. And we had the videos, we were all excited, but we know things are going to get situated. And when the travel bans are lifted again, we are going to ensure that we leverage such a facility that's not just conducive for relaxation, it's conducive for businesses to do their retreats, their leadership retreats, their team building exercises. It's just a one-stop place that you must visit. I mean, I have not seen too many places that resembles that, and it's so serene. You're there, you just know that you're on top of the world, thinking about positive things. You can't be in Lacampine Tropicana and have any negative thoughts. No way, because the environment is too conducive, and it just gives you that hope. It ignites the hope in you. Again, as soon as we bring him on, I wanted to set the preambles to ensure that you understand why we have His Excellency Dr. Otunba Olawanle Akinboboye. We're trying to get him in as a panel. He's listening to us now, but he needs to be on the panel box where you all can see him and hear what he has to say. So as we get situated to make that happen, I will continue to talk about the work that he has done. I will continue to stress the person that he is, because people do business with people they like and trust. And in this day and age that the social media has popularized the unpopular people, with all due respect, because social media is just social media. Everybody goes on. But we need to make it our business to bring those who have made impact, who are making impact. So as we decide to move forward, we know that we're not alone. To my African American brothers and sisters, I know some of you are on, some of you are going to listen to this later. You have no fears about going back home. Trust me. You just need to link up with the right person and the right team. And this is the right team. And we will go into specifics into all of the things that are even happening globally, not just in one country in Africa. There are so many things that are happening in different pockets of Africa. So I am going to see, I see Otunba is here, not on the panel. So I need to see how we can bring him. So bear with us. He was the first to arrive, I may say. He was the first one to arrive on this webinar, and that's like him. He's a man of his time and honest, so we respect you, sir. We appreciate you. So we need to bring you on the panel box to ensure that we get to hear from your fountain of wisdom, so we can get everybody to hopefully ask some questions, or the questions, you can type it on the chat box. You can email, we're going to leave you an email where you can email him directly. We want you to connect with a source of people that are making things happen. So that is what we are doing right now, trying to get him on. And I know technology is always exciting. When things work the way they're supposed to work, everything is hunky-dory. When it's slow and steady, we also need to adapt to it. So as we continue to wait to have Otunba be connected to us on the panel box, I want to continue to talk about the things that he has done and the things that he's doing. I don't know of too many employers that have employed people who have been sustained for years. And when you employ people and you're not just giving them the salary, you're employing the betterment of their wholesomeness in life. And that's what, like in Pine Tropicana, Motherland Beckons, that's what they exemplify. Everyone who is an employee there, they have a way of connecting to the good of the land to be able to better themselves. People have left there, they have traveled abroad, they have started their own initiatives, they have put roof over their heads. These are intentional activities that we see and we hear about such a leader, because everything starts from the top. Leadership is just influence, and Dr. Akinboboye is an influencer and he's a worker, so that truly makes it a very good team, a very good gateway to Africa. If you're looking, oh yes, he is here. Welcome aboard, sir. He's connecting. We are excited. He is coming, and as soon as he arrives, thank you for those who have joined. Thank you for those who will join later. And thank you for those who are going to be listening to this in your groups, in your various groups. Are we able to get cameras, sir? Or is that going to be, we would love to see you on camera if that's possible. Yay! What I go by. Hello, sir. I am so excited. I had to ask diplomatically. I wasn't sure if, oh, I shouldn't have even asked. I know definitely that people have heard about you. They probably have Googled, they've seen you. So to all of us who are on and who will be on later, I don't see the picture well yet. We're not seeing your face quite well, so there's a little, okay, we see part, okay, we see you. So while he's doing that, there you go. Thank you very much.
Better now? Yes,
we see you better. I know that you're not someone that needs a lot of introduction, but because this is not just for those who know us, this is for the world, pretty much. So I'm going to take a moment to kind of underscore some of the nuggets of his achievements, of his credentials. We've spoken a lot about you prior now, because I don't need to read your bio. I know you. I know your worth. I know your work. So I am a living testament to someone who have been a protege of yours. But it's my pleasure to read it to the world so they know that what we have with us right now is someone, when you are an African American, I keep saying that because this is mainly for those of us who want to connect back home. And I know some of you have a meeting that you're going to be watching this at later. So I want to take the opportunity to go over the bio. I'm not going to say read it. Dr. Otunba Olawanle Akinboboye. He is not just an achiever in the area of academics. He has his undergrad's degree. He has his graduate degrees. He has his honorary doctorate degree when it was way, way, way uncommon for people to have such. So we have someone who is with us this afternoon, this morning, this day, wherever you are, who has the academic pedigree to be whoever he wants to be, but chose to make continent building his passion. Why? Because he believed in Africa way before everybody started talking about diaspora this, diaspora that, Africa being emerging. He knew Africa had emerged in his own books. He knew the power that we have as Africans. So as a result of that, he took it upon himself to create entities, empires that are today hiring. They have over thousands of people in a community who have been working there, who have walked there and gone to do big and better things. If you're in the African setting, or even some of the Americans, when it wasn't popular, he had invited American brothers and sisters to come and see the good of the land. He has brought them to the comfort of their home, and they've had very special ceremonies. So I know all of you have seen such videos, because we were supposed to be going to spend our sister time in Lacanpine this year if it wasn't for COVID, but we will repeat that as soon as the the travel lift is over. So Lacanpine Tropicana Resort is one of his signature hallmark, and this is this is a resort that all of us know is used for corporate retreats. It's used for just relaxation. I was saying earlier, you cannot be at the resort and think negative. You really have to be totally off your, you know what, you there, your positivity, your energy ignites, because it's a serene area where you can think and enjoy the ambience of what nature has presented through the creativity of our guest and our mentor, and a man of dignity. He also has the corporate guard security. I'm like, wow, how cool is that? He knows that this is a setting that would attract international visitors and all of that, and even people locally. So there's also a corporate security end of it. When I was making my presentation, because I took a tour of the resort before the COVID scenario, and we were going to do our travel. When I told my team that we also have an arm there that does corporate security guard, they were like, whoa, that's a one-stop. I said yes, because he already has been in the diaspora. So he knew what will be important to anyone who, you don't even have to be an African American. It could be someone who maybe have been so gone from home and now you're going back. So we have that. We have the Atunda entertainment. That is where, that's the fun part. That's the one that gets me excited. That's where they have the Afro funk, engagement. Look at me now, I'm ready to dance. When the Atunda entertainment, when they present, you know they present everywhere, globally. And he's going to talk about all of this. We have the Motherland Beckons. That's the biggest movement. This is a movement, not just a talk. It's a movement with action, and there are some activities that we will talk about that he has started to kind of stimulate that. We have the Africa Talkie Trade Center. So pretty much, this is a man who has seen the power of Africa even before everybody thought, oh, is an emerging this and that. He saw it coming, and he created platforms to engage. So to my African American brothers, I want to present to you Dr. Otunba Olawanle Akinboboye. You're welcome, sir. We are so honored to have you. Yes, sir.
Remi, you've said it all. You've oversaid it. I don't even know where to begin. Where do I start from? Tell me.
I know. You need to just, I was telling them I didn't just Google you. So I know what you do. So it makes it very special to be able to talk about those things. And then we want to hear the specifics and whatever else. How can we engage, and your wisdom of how did you come this far? What even got you to think about all the structures that you had put in place before now, sir? I'll start with that.
Okay. But, let's begin from where we are as a people. And let's talk to our brothers in diaspora for them to begin to understand the task ahead of all of us. Now, let me correct a notion very quickly. The African continent has a total of almost 2 billion people. Now, 1.2 live in the continent that has an area of 30.2 million square kilometers of area. And we have 1.2 billion in the continent and maybe additional 800 million in diaspora, in the Americas, in the Caribbean, in Europe. We're bigger than China, but we constantly refer to the continent of Africa as those that are living in the continent. Now, what we have to understand, and very simple, we need to look at where we are as a people and what we have achieved and what we have ahead of us. The whole of Japan is on approximately 337,000 square kilometers of area, whilst Africa altogether is a total of about 1.2 billion people living on 30.2 million square kilometers of area. And now Japan has approximately 180, 185 million people. They have been able to turn that around with zero natural resources. Basically, all the resources we're talking about is in the continent of Africa. Everything is here in the continent. And then we additionally have very hardworking people, industrious people, people that are capable of doing anything. And our GDP last year was just approximately 3.5 trillion US dollars, whilst Japan had a GDP of 4.9, almost $5 trillion, living on a land that is approximately the size of Togo. Togo is 60,000 square kilometers of area. Japan has 337,000 square kilometers, but they can only occupy 15% of this land area. And they are able to do $4.9 trillion, more than the entire continent of Africa put together. So when you look at that, you then begin to realize that there was really no time to talk. This is not a time for talking, it's a time for action. And when I finished my master's at FIU in Miami, I came back to the continent of Africa, and I believe that for the continent to move forward, all of us must engage ourselves. We must talk about what we can do as a people in our own individual efforts, not waiting for a government, not waiting for African Union, not waiting for UNESCO or UNICEF or any of these international organizations. Let's begin to start looking at how to tweak this 30.2 million square kilometers of area, the second largest continent in the world and the wealthiest continent in the world that belongs to us. So in my own little way, I decided that my focus will be on three things: security, entertainment, and tourism. are set, and I believe strongly the entire continent is set to explode. Because those three arms, those three things I've talked about, the three industries that I've just mentioned, are industries that have no entry level, from security to tourism to entertainment. If you talk about security, it's critical. Well, security is not a reason for us not to do what we need to do, because as far as I am concerned, nowhere is secure in the world. If the Pentagon can be attacked, if the World Trade Center can be attacked, I believe strongly that there is no other place in the world that is safe. So we've just got to look at how to work with what we have. So we begin first by taking young graduates, grooming them, and creating a career path for them where they start as a guard and grow to a point and own their own franchise and become an entrepreneur to give jobs to other Africans. And we are replicating this throughout the continent of Africa. And when you talk about entertainment, that is our advantage. And to have an advantage in life, you take advantage of your advantage. There's basically nothing that can take it from you. The biggest advantage we have as a people is entertainment. A 2-year-old boy would dance to any rhythm. He cares not where that rhythm comes from. We are naturally gifted in this area. And then you move forward to tourism. Tourism incorporates basically everything. 1 out of every 4 jobs in the world is weaved around tourism. And everything you can think about in life is a byproduct of tourism. If you're going to Mars, it's a touristic affair. If you're traveling for education, it's educational tourism. If you go anywhere for adventure, it's adventure tourism. If you decide that you want to go and experience what they have in Egypt, it's archaeological tourism. Every movement you move, anywhere you go, is weaved around tourism. So those three are basically what we need to do as a people to begin to move the continent forward. And for me, those are the 3 industries we can partake in without having to come to the West first, without having to import anything. We have the natural resources in the continent of Africa. Now, like I said earlier, to have an advantage, you take advantage of your advantage. And when you take advantage of your advantage, you have an absolute monopoly. Now that monopoly is what we need to take advantage of as Africans. The advantage of being the best when it comes to dance, when it comes to music, when it comes to any aspect of entertainment. And of course, sports is part of entertainment. So I believe strongly that these are the things we as a people need to understand, that we're beginning a new journey. I see COVID-19 as an advantage for the continent of Africa. This basically has given us an opportunity to develop and groom ourselves. We were growing up in the midst of a lot of developed nations all over the world, so it had to a large extent curtailed us from developing who we are and what we are and what we need to be. Because we jump all over the world, we run around and take a bit of what we can refer to as comfort zone, perceived comfort zone in other people's countries. And then we have a problem with it when we find out that we're having issues with breathing. But we need to come back to the continent of Africa where we can breathe freely, where we can breathe with all our nostrils without anybody disrupting that breathing process. You know, so that basically, I grew up in the US, did my first degree, my master's, worked in the US for many years. But nothing is going to happen if we sit back and talk about it. We all need to come back and begin to roll up our sleeves and realizing that America and the United States of America is what America is today because of the endeavors of the people that came from different parts of the world and took the land from the real owners and twig it and turn it to theirs and call it the United States of America. That for me shows the best of entrepreneurship. Of course, let's be with a bit of reservation. I think that whatever we get, whatever short end of the stick we get is our fault as a people, because we have a continent that is wealthy. Look at England for a minute. The whole of England is 136,000 square kilometers of area. They have less than 60 million people. They colonized the entire 30.2 million square kilometers of a section of it. And they were able to do that by removing from us our culture. In 1835, 2nd of February, Lord Macaulay advised the parliament that you need to remove from Africans their culture because they're very strong, they're very intelligent, they're very quick, they're fast. Until you make them pursue and run after your culture, you cannot begin to catch up with them. So it was a concerted plan. It was a concerted effort. And it worked for them. They came, they sold the concept of the fact that our culture is barbaric. Our language is vernacular. And basically that has forced us over the years chasing shadows, running after what doesn't really truly belong to us. So it took a concerted effort to remove us from that culture. It will require concerted effort on our part to put it back as a people. And it might be late for those of us that are in the continent today because we are born into it. 450 years is not a joke. If I got free labor for 400 years, I would be the wealthiest person on this planet and any planet that is in this world. 400 years of free labor, it's humongous. It's a major leap for any human being, for any group of people, for any area. So, but there's a lot of catching up we need to do. So we must begin the process of redefining ourselves, of first of all, finding out who we are, what we stand for. And I am glad approximately 10 years ago, the African Union started a movement called Agenda 2063, building the Africa we want, which is basically for us to begin the process of building our continent the way we want it. How can you be residing in a constitution, way of life, values, culture of the same people that captured you? We need to now harvest the continent of Africa because nobody else can harvest the continent like us and bring it to the world table. What you have presently now is that the second largest portion of the planet Earth is leaking. It's not been harvested. And when you have that happen, the problem you will have is that it will not hold water. If you take anything from pot to any container and you remove the second largest part of it, and the second largest part of it is not producing, it's not creating, it's running to different other part of it, you find out that you will not really be able to stabilize. Until the world stabilizes Africa, the world will never settle. Because we are now 7.8 billion people. We need the resources in the continent of Africa to develop the continent and to develop the world. It's a global community now. COVID-19 started in China. Within 6 months, it's been all over the world. So we're living in a global community, a very small village. So what that requires from all of us is to understand that our major focus would be to harvest the continent of Africa. And that is also to the advantage of the entire world. Now, in those days when the colonizers came, it was basically a world of to each its own. Everybody lived in their own small cocoons. Now, so it's understandable what they did then by taking the most they can from every section and using it to develop their area. But now things have changed, and I believe very strongly that if the colonizers of 1600 come back to the continent of Africa today, they will do it differently. They will realize how important
Sorry, I think
area grow, for us to make sure that the most fertile portion of the world is harvested for the world growth and development. The great-great-great-grandchildren of colonizers really do not understand that it's time for Plan B. They're still following Plan A. They still feel they need to conquer. I don't know what else they're waiting for until they begin to understand that it's a new world, that their responsibility now must be to come to the continent of Africa. That is the second portion, the second largest portion of the continent of Africa. And they're able to say, let's help this continent grow and develop their agriculture, develop their tourism, develop their infrastructure in a manner, and watch them do it and give them the opportunity to do it themselves. And those also in the diaspora must come back and be part of this process. What we did in 2005 was to come to Atrium in hotel in Atlanta, Georgia. I brought a lot of the kings and 40 top musicians with me to create Motherland Beckons, to launch Motherland Beckons in Atlanta, Georgia in 2005. And the idea is that it is those of us in the continent that can provide a platform for those in diaspora. And there must be a concerted effort on our part to make sure that we create that platform for them. Because when I got back, I was lost for almost a year. So you can imagine our brothers and sisters that live in diaspora that have never been to the continent, how difficult it would be for them. So I believe strongly that we as a people must create the platform for our brothers in diaspora to come back. And they must come back to meet opportunities. We must create a platform for them. With African Union, we created a concept called Business Bridge, where John Doe from Denver, Colorado, for example, can invest as little as $1,000 right there in the United States. We have a bank here that will give you your BVN, that will register your account for you. And we get you a local partner that will partner with you, that will run the business for a period, and you get your revenue on a quarterly basis, on a monthly basis. I will send you the Business Bridge website so you can visit with it. Mm-hmm. So that is what we have got to do. We've got to create the platform and create prosperity and make sure that we bring other arms of the world. We went to Turkey, for example, because Turkey didn't have any colonization mentality. I think the biggest problem with the United States of America and Europe is basically because they feel that, okay, how can slaves now sit with me at the same table? They're my slaves. They were my slaves. They used to be our slaves. So they must remain our slaves. So we have to look for partners that are ready to partner with Africa. We need to stretch out to Japan, look for other areas that will look at us as equal partners. And that is why we created the Africa-Turkey Trade Center, where we will link diaspora people coming back to the continent with entrepreneurs from Turkey. They will jointly start up businesses in different parts of the continent of Africa. We're using Nigeria, of course, as the base for Africa's development, because out of the about $3.3 trillion GDP, Nigeria had a total of $480 billion out of that, and 136 or almost 140 billion was generated in Lagos State alone. So we need to create a platform, a location, and well, where we are, the area we are, is called the Lekki Peninsula. It's the fastest growing peninsula in the world. They're expecting 2 seaports, airports, the biggest refinery in Africa, the fertilizer plant also is coming up there. So we have different, and approximately 2 to 2.5 million people are moving to this axis. It's called the Lekki Peninsula. So we need to create business opportunities for Africans in diaspora. And I've told people over and over again, it's very simple. We only need to create wealth. If we want to start from the angle of unity, it will take us forever. I can guarantee you, when you create wealth, people will automatically unite. So when we create wealth, and we have some samples of wealth creation, I brought an entrepreneur, a Grayon trash company from Washington, D.C., many years ago, and we set them up within 2 days. We have in the Motherland Beacons Business Club, lawyers, bankers, individuals that can help you with the recruitment of staff. They're all on ground. In 2 days, the managing director of the company saw almost 500 employees or prospective employees, applicants. And within a period of 2 days, sitting at a resort overlooking the Atlantic Ocean, he was able to recruit everybody that he needs. And he has a virtual office, he has a phone number, and he started his business, or her business. He started moving on. That is what we've got to do throughout the continent of Africa, create a platform for people of African descent and lovers of Africa. For those of them that believe that their forefathers did wrong, how they did it wrongly, and we need to stop crying. I'm tired. We should be tired of crying by now. I think we've done a lot of crying. We did a lot of crying for 400 years. I think it's now a big river of tears, and they're not listening to you because we don't understand that this is not about color. It has absolutely nothing to do with them liking or not liking you. It's economics.
Yeah.
It's economics. It's advantage. It's creating an advantage for themselves. I have a lot of Jewish friends. They don't talk about the Holocaust. There are 50 million people. They are in charge of the United States of America. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And they have no time to cry. They have time to get even economically. 30 years ago, China, with 1.4 billion people living on 8.9 million square kilometers of area, was poorer than Nigeria. Today, they are world superpowers. Let's go to a small country like Dubai that has about 3.1 million people and only about 70 kilometers of beachfront area to operate from. They get 15.9 million tourists on an annual basis. All right, so people cannot patronize your anger. They can't patronize your cries. They cannot patronize your disadvantage. The fact that, oh yes, you've done me so much wrong. You've got to give them what to patronize. And you must start the process of thinking of what you have tremendous amount of abilities and advantages that you can take advantage of as an African. And I wonder when my brothers, and when I came back from the US, everybody thought I was from the Caribbean. They thought I was from, some would think I'm an Igbo man. Some would think I'm from Delta region. So we're basically the same, you know? And I think I am yet to see a situation where an African is walking down the street and an immigration officer is going to him and said, "So where are you from? Let me see your passport." As a matter of fact, you get more advantage as an African returnee from diaspora by the time you bamboozle it with your American grammar or British, English. You get a bit of advantage that you can use to your advantage without taking advantage of the people. So we don't have the same issue that we had in Liberia. Now, what we're working on now is, we know now that African Americans are tired of running on the treadmill because they've been running so fast on treadmill. You can imagine putting folks like the fastest man on earth on a treadmill, Usain Bolt. He will run faster than anybody you can think of, but he will always be on one spot. And that's basically what we've been doing as Africans in diaspora, especially in the United States of America. Most African Americans have two legs, but they chose to stand on one leg. And so easily you can push them around. You push a man standing on one leg, he will fall, he will crash. But if you're standing on your both legs, the African leg and the American leg, you have as much right to the United States of America as the Irish, as the British, as the Mexican, because everybody came from somewhere else. As a Jew. But the Jewish people went back to their country to stand on the Jewish leg. And everything they acquire travels 16 minimum times within their community. $1.7 trillion. I would say the economy of approximately 6 to 7 European countries is what African Americans generate every year. Not maybe about 2% of that come back to the continent of Africa. So if you can't breathe, you choose not to breathe. There are so many opportunities for you as an African all over the continent. And I think we should be tired now and really understand that these folks are not going to listen to you. If they have not listened to you in 400 years, you have cases in France, different parts of the world today, where the people that benefited from the end of slave trade are people that are the perpetrators of the trade. Until today, we are still talking. We are angry. The anger that didn't get us anywhere 400 years ago. And now that you're looking at the world resources shrinking, that is not the time that people will listen to you. So I think to a large extent, when we launched Motherland Beckons in Atlanta, Georgia, the idea is to create that platform for them to come back and be part of home. We brought in different African-American mayors. We brought Marlon Jackson. We brought different top-level business people. And I told them, said, you guys, your great-great-great-great-grandfathers left on slave ships. You're coming back on airships. So this is not a time for you to cry. When we got to Almena Castle and we got to Badagry, All right, they claim that Badagry, this was where all the Africans participated in slave trade, and I will share this particular experience with you. The best house in that area, Almina Castle, was that house that was built in 1707, way back. The Almina Castle itself is still the best house. And the great-great-great-grandchildren of the Africans you claim participated in slave trade are coming to you now, African Americans, the great-great-great-grandchildren of slaves. And they are begging you for food. They are begging you for a bit of money. So what are you angry about? You must then now put that behind you and ask yourself that, okay, fine, we have been wrong collectively. How do we move forward? So when we got to Badagry, Marlon Jackson said to me that I cannot believe how human beings can do this to human beings, because on the way to the point of no return, I showed him the different grades of slaves, that if you are tired, if you look weak, if you're not strong enough, if you are resistant, if you have any types of illness, the mass grave there run into like 1 million, 2, 3 million. They can't even count. And he was shedding tears. At our next webinar, I'll show you the video of Marlon Jackson crying. I'll show you the video of all the mayors. The president of the world, the chairman of the World Conference of Mayors, Mayor Gary Lobster, was there crying. The president, the mayor of District Heights, Mayor Jack Sims, was there crying. All right, and the mayor of the city of Grenadine. I have like almost about 15 or 20 mayors that came from different parts, and I told them, this is not for crying. This is, yeah, I can, it's hard not to cry when you visit this particular location. But the time has come for us to wipe off our tears and know that nobody is patronizing those tears. The time has come for us as the people to begin the process. And I am almost certain that if Japan can do 4.9 trillion with zero natural resources, zero, except brain resources, I believe strongly when Africa kicks off with 30.2 million square kilometers of area, with 1.8 billion people, we will define the direction the world should go. But this will not happen if we don't roll up our sleeves. I camped in the forest here when I was 29 to create the first authentic African themed resort that we are now franchising throughout the world, where the Ethiopian government gave us 90 hectares of land around their only hot spring. See, the only place you can showcase and display your culture is basically around your tourism sites. Because when people come to your country, they probably will not visit your home. So they go through your country without your country going through them. So you must make sure that if they bring containers in and they do business here, you must collect that money back through tourism. And what will impress them is if you showcase and you show them authentic African presentation, if you show them what Africa is all about, because people travel for experience. Whoever can travel across the globe is really not coming to watch TV. They have TVs in their homes. They're coming to share your experience. They're coming to learn your language. They're coming to learn from you. The name for Africa, I hope we all know that it's not Africa. Our actual name is Al-Kabunam. The name Africa was coined to rob us of who we really are. You can Google it. And Alkebunan mean the Garden of Eden, mother of mankind. Everybody on planet Earth today came from the continent of Africa. Alkebunan is our true name. We allow people to change things for us. Fine. It has happened. It is time for us now to change it back. Now, Africans should not be referred to, and I want to quickly correct this using this opportunity, Remi, before I let others talk, because it's 36 years of work. So we can't finish in 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, please.
You know, Africans should not allow people to refer to them as a color. Black Lives Matter. For me, it's disturbing. Black has no culture. The color black has no essence. The color black is identified with negativity, from Black Maria to Black Sunday to black sheep of the family. You can go on and on and on like that. I have not seen any other race on this planet that refer to themselves as a color, because color really means nothing. I am from Ondo town, Ekimogun. I know my history. I know where I am from. And we need to help our other brothers in diaspora to identify who they are. I'm a Gbani Joke, I'm an Obeso. I'm an Okogba Ogoji, Modidone Somo, Shombi, Mofania, Shongosa, Modidone Shongbe. So don't call me black. That is not my color. That is not my essence. I don't stand for that. I'm a human being.
That's right.
Colors have no past, no present, and no future. So basically everything you do goes into a box as a color. I am yet to see Chinese people saying I'm yellow, I'm proud. I'm yet to come across the Indians saying I'm red, I'm proud. Red life matters. So I like for us to begin the process. Like I said, it was a concerted effort. It was a plan, and it worked. 400 years now. For us, we can only begin the process because even on a regular basis, I pinch me, remind myself because of my American background, remind myself who I am, remind myself what I stand for, because it's in our fabric, it's in our soul. So it'll require an effort. And that effort can only come from within. It can't come from without, from out there. All right, the people that put it there want it to stay there permanently. With all the wealth I have today, or whatever little I have today, Remi, if I decide I want to be Remi Duyile today, I'll be subservient to you for life. I've put my every essence underneath you, and you can tread on me the way you like. So it's important and it's imperative for us to begin the process of redefinition of who we are by understanding who we stand to be in future, because whatever you do as Black cannot be captured under any value, any essence. You came from Alkebunan, the motherland. You came from what we can refer to as the mother of humanity. So why are you referring to yourself as a color? I am yet to see colors giving birth to anything. That's a color. So our focus must be, if you run away from who you are, you keep running for the rest of your life. The process of growth begins from ourselves, identifying who you are and being proud of who you are. And once you're proud of who you are, you have a solid platform to jump off of. The lack of platform, or the platform we're standing on today, was the doing or undoing of yesterday people. We must understand that the platform for tomorrow's people is in our hands, today's people. And we must begin that process of building that platform of culture and confidence, platform of culture and essence, platform of importance, and stop running away from who you are, because that's impossible. I thank you, Remi, for bringing me on board.
Wow.
I hope that we can all begin this renaissance together and begin the process of development. The African Union appointed me as the advisor about 8 months ago towards this Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. We are going to make sure that we create several things in the continent, from business bridge to different tourism products, and take it throughout the continent of Africa. We've started moves like East-West amalgamation through tourism and creative arts, weaved around movies and music, where for the first time you are going to see Nigerian actors and our brothers, Ethiopian actors on the same screen, enjoying the culture from the West and the culture from the East. We start the Anglophone, Francophone amalgamation through tourism and creative arts. You know, I had a visit with the president of Antigua at some point, the prime minister, and I asked the taxi driver that was bringing me from the airport to the prime minister's office and to visit with him. And I asked him, I said, how many Africans really live on the island of Antigua? He said, you know, if you go around the downtown area, you'll probably run into like almost 200-300 Africans. I said, that's all? He said, yes, that's all, not more than 200-300. They're just beginning to come to Antigua now because Lord Spencer is now encouraging Africans to visit Antigua. I said, just 100 people? He said, okay, so the rest are Caucasians. They are from, he said, no, the rest are, we run into about 100,000. I said, oh, you mean you are not African? He said, no, I'm from Antigua. I said, really? I said, really? Tell me about it. I said, no, you are an African. Your forefathers came from the continent of Africa. And you have an African identity you can run from. I can see you from 1,000 miles away that you are Africans. You are an African. And you can run away from that. The earlier you believe in that and you begin the process of understanding that, then we will begin to move the continent forward. And you have tremendous access to the wealth of Africa. That is part of yours. You stand on your second leg because you have 2 legs. You have an advantage. Don't look at yourself as an African American as being disadvantaged. Depends on how you look at it. That could be an advantage. You have the exposure. What has helped me was that I did my first degree and master's in the US. What has helped me is because I have the American orientation. I married it with the Nigerian culture. And I am a lot stronger for it. It's the way you skin a cat. It's the way you look at things. Is the bottle half empty or half full? So if you take advantage of you being African and accept the fact that you're an African, and you decide to stand on the 2 legs, the American leg and the African leg, like I told you many years ago, Remi, that I said, I salute your courage. First Vice President of Bank of America. You came back home. You added tremendous amount of value. You did so much. You added value, and you now know what to do. When you come back, you're not coming back as a strange person. You know precisely what you want to do. And that is what we have to do. And no one can tell you anything because you know who you are. You know where you're from. You know where you're going. And so I remember that it was, I think, about almost a year that I got to Houston. I was in Houston, Texas for almost 9 months. Then I came back and I wasn't interacting much. I was rushing in and out of school. It was when I got to Bowie State University that I realized that people refer to people like me as Black. I didn't understand. I didn't understand it. And when I came to that realization, I remember the European looked at me and said, you know, I know you don't know this, but you're Black. I said, really? I didn't know that. And I said, okay, so what are you? He said, no, I'm white. I said, no, you look pink to me. I'm sorry, but white color. He said, but you look pink. You don't look white. You look pink to me. And he knew I was, of course, he knew I'm from Africa. So he knew I didn't understand what was going on in the United States of America. So he was trying to emphasize it. And basically, that's what people do. You meet someone, you want to start a conversation. They see that you are more intelligent, you know what you're doing. What they do first is put Black in your face.
Yes. Yes.
And they put the N-word in your face.
Yeah.
So if you're not smart enough, you'll be arguing with that.
Yeah.
Whereas whilst they are assessing you and coming up with a plan to destabilize you.
Yeah. Yes.
But when they refer to you as a color, if you look back and say, okay, you're probably talking to the guy behind me, but I'm here to talk to you about what we've got to do and why I've come to see you. So our focus must be that.
Yeah.
The minute we acknowledge that fact, that we're a color, we're already defeated. We have not started our reinvention. We have not started our own recreation, our own growth, because we're still struggling with a color, not with humanity.
Wow, wow. Otunba, Dr. Olawanle Akinboboye, sir, I am so dumbfounded. It's always a great pleasure to learn at your feet. And I say that with all due respect. I mean, you've underscored the power of essence, the ability to know who we are, because that's the genesis of all of this. And what you have brought out to us, I know all of us that are listening and that will listen later, the two-legged stool concept. Knowing that you have two legs and you're standing on one, you have helped us to see how can we reconnect with that other leg. Because there's some questions that I will ask, because I have a few questions from people already. You have not just identified that there's a second leg that needs to be stood on. You said there are ways you can stand on those legs by the various initiatives, whether it be the bridge, the business bridge, and what your new assignment is with the African Union. We could have not asked for a better individual, because people are looking for that opportunity to get to that next level. You have called us to action, and that is what you've done this afternoon, this day, now, for whoever. So there's no one that should be crying over spilled milk, is what I'm hearing. I'm paraphrasing, because the milk is spilled. We can create better tasty milk with maybe not from cow. We might decide to use something else. So you have really articulated, sir, what the power of knowing your identity and your origin is. Because when you know your identity and your origin, the rest is history. And creating that economic empowerment, I always tell people, I was thinking it was because of the banker in me, sir, that economic empowerment is what will liberate anybody. That without that, everything you do is just going to be another exercise. But when you can create that economic empowerment and stay in that space, people would identify with you. And you just emphasize that too, that rather than bringing back the past all the time and letting that weigh us down, whereby we're angry, let's do something about the anger. And let's create that energy. And Motherland Beckons is a resource, the business bridge. We're going to follow up. Clearly, this would not be a one-off. We are going to have an intentional forum whereby we have people who truly want to do things in Africa, so that it will be a more close-knit individual who would have listened to this segment and say, okay, this is what I'm trying to do. So we'll invite you to please help us to guide them, be that bridge, which I know you have systems in place, not you personally. You have a beautiful team that can pretty much do everything that you have said. So thank you very much, sir. And thank you for all our participants and those who will listen later. I have a few questions here from our participants, so I want to go into that. It says, oh, they definitely want information on the B2B investment. I know that there's a website. I'm not sure if you can answer that or if you want me to go ahead and give them the
we have a, yeah, we have a, I will send the website to you in a minute that tells you the process of what you go through and how you can benefit from this, how you can open your account from where you are, monitor your business from where you are. We have a business manager for investments of $10,000 and above. We have a business supervisor from investments of $10,000 and below. And then we have business advisors, people that have done 15, 20 years in business in Nigeria, that will give you proper recommendation, not just in the continent, not just in Nigeria, sorry, in the entire continent. And all funds go through a bank, and you get all the details there. The bank will establish you there. They will get your certificate of capital importation for you, so that you can get your money repatriated easily. It's all done, and it's www.businessbridgeaf.com. www.businessbridgeaf.com.
Okay.
So you can get basically everything you need from there. You can register online, and they engage you right away. So that the idea behind this is that a lot of folks really, and that we're setting up with African Union now a reconciliation and reintegration committee that basically will guide and support all Africans in diaspora returning by making sure people don't see them as a food basket, an opportunity to make money on the side of our brothers here on the continent. Because brothers on the continent, as soon as they see that you're from abroad, be it Europe or America, they think, yes, it's time to make money. So we're going to work on that. And when we're going to work on our brothers in diaspora to come back and not intimidate their brothers on ground. Yes. You know, we've been separated for 400 years. So there is going to be a concerted effort through African Union to make sure that we provide soft landing, yes, that folks that come, we're able to, so we don't get the issues that we got. Of course, we're not going to eradicate fraud, but we want to minimize it. We want as much as possible to make sure that everybody is protected when they arrive. We want to make sure that they are educated to understand that respect people's rights, understand that the culture is different. Don't think that because a guy is prostrating for you on the floor, he's stupid, and you want to step on him. Because, you know, a lot of our brothers have come from a background of intimidation. And we have that problem of feeling that anytime we have power, we use that power to intimidate others. So it requires a plan and a concerted effort for us to balance this, because it's going to be a major problem. Because we don't want them laughing at us and being happy. You see, I knew you guys can, you go to Africa, you run back.
Mhm.
Basically, they will make sure you run back. Your own brothers and sisters will deal with you. If you look at what happened in Sierra Leone, what happened in Liberia is because there was no integration plan. The Africans from the United States of America referred to their brothers in Liberia as bush guys.
Oh my goodness.
And that was where people like Samuel Doe came from. So those that were on ground were looked down upon as being backward, being, they call them names. They transfer, you know, of course, they were not faced with it because they don't even know the meaning of the word nigger. Excuse my language. So I remember when somebody used that word for me, I was looking, I said, I remember I was very young then, and I looked at him. No, but you got my name wrong. That is not my name. He said, no, that's your name in America. You're a nigger. No. I said, no, I'm not. I'm from Nigeria. You are making a mistake. It's not called nigger. It's called Nigeria. It took me a while to understand that he's referring to me in a derogatory manner, you know, because we didn't grow up with words like that. I went to St. Joseph's College, and all our teachers were from Canada, from different parts of Europe. We didn't call them names. They never used that word. So we saw their children and all the Canadian teachers that came. We were all friends, playing football together. There was no N-word, and there was no color word like black. No, I never heard that before I traveled. So business bridge is there for you to step on, and we are creating the different business opportunities as from the people that have just $100 that want to basically go into farming. They can buy vegetables. $100 is approximately 50,000 naira. It's enough to start a farm. I hope that you know that the resort is the only resort in the world that have a white forest. If you go through our forest, it's sand and it's white, white forest. Then it's the only resort in the world that have grass growing on it. We have carpet grass all over the resort, about approximately 4 kilometers of area of carpet grass. That tells you how fertile our land is. If you leave your house untended to, without roofs on it, you will see that grass will start growing on it. Ondo State and Ekiti and some area of Plateau, you see big trees growing on top of rocks because we're in the Garden of Eden. Everything grows here. We just run away from it. Now, if you have 50,000 naira and you invest, for example, $100, that will give you 50, approximately, let's say 40,000 naira. You buy different vegetables, you can start a crop, and we have different hotels, resorts that will buy from you. For example, everybody in the resort has been encouraged to start a farm, and we buy from them. They make extra money. So we have so much land, they are planting on sand and it's growing for them. All right. So these are things that, you know, it's good, yes, we have to think very big, but we must start small and stay consistent and move with it. To move a mountain, you start by picking a few stones and you start a process of movement. Our problem is that we think too big and we get way down by analysis paralysis. But I believe strongly that every stage of life you step on, you will learn. Every stage of life plays a totally different music. And then you need to get to that stage and listen to the music so you can dance an appropriate dance on that particular stage before you go to the next stage. So that process itself is part of growth. And when I tell young people that the first thing you must pray for is that you fail regularly, not once, regularly. Because the more failures that you have, the more possibility will be your success in future. Because we learn from our failures. That's what we refer to as experience. So it must begin from somewhere. So let's assume that we have a Remi Duyile that decided I want to invest $100. We'll link you with, then you get a business supervisor that will get the farmer that will plant. And the business supervisor's remuneration will come from the percentage he makes from that business. So he must monitor it. Then there's a bank also in between, remitting all the proceeds from there to the bank. And the money is shared between the investor and the entrepreneur. So it starts from $100 to $25, $50 billion, whatever you have. But our process is that we can't wait any longer for our brothers to travel down till when they come down before they can be part of what is happening in the continent of Africa. If they start gradually and they make some level of revenue, I'll give an example. If you invest a first capital of $10,000, for example, by the time you make $40,000, you must exit that partnership because that particular entrepreneur will have made also $40,000 because it's 40-40. You share it. And he can proceed and do his business. Then you can decide to pick another entrepreneur in that same field or a totally different vocation. By the time you do that 3, 4, 5 times, and you see the kind of wealth you can create for yourself, and you have a business on ground, that on its own will pull you back to the continent.
Yes, yes.
And then when you come back to the continent, you know precisely what you're coming to do.
Yes.
You already have a business. You've invested in fishing business. There are so many tailors. There was a young man today I ran into. I went to make a change on my phone, and he worked overnight. So I started asking him. He was just 21 years old. I said, wow, how much do they pay you to come to my house and work overnight, to move all my stuff from my software and put in my hardware and change everything around and turn for all night, 24 hours? He said, nothing. That is just finished. He finished about 6 months ago. And so they still allow him to be working there because he does not have capital. I said, how much capital do you need? He said, he needs just about 250,000 naira. Okay, I said, you are starting your business tomorrow. And that is what you find. There are so many people in different vocations like that, be it tailoring, be it organizer, be it mechanic, be it, in this case, it's a software engineer. He worked with this particular organization for 2.5 years.
Chinese organization.
And it's a Chinese organization. So he is very, very brilliant. He took the best of the best from them. Yeah, now I'm not worried that he took advantage of him because I'm going to transform that advantage to an advantage for him. All right? And they pay him nothing. Okay? But I hope you realize Chinese people have 1.4 billion people. Only 400 and so million of them are above poverty line. So they have a billion mouths to feed. and they only have 8.9 by 9 million square kilometers of area. If you look at the United States of America with less than 400 million people, you folks have approximately 10.2 million square kilometers of area. And with that small number of people, your president is building a wall instead of building a bridge to make sure people can come and help with the harvesting of the wealth in America, because America is the center for excellence. Everybody, the most brilliant people from all over the world have come to the United States of America, and they are there adding value, tilling that land. Less than 400 million people, and you're sitting on 10 million. China is on 1.4 billion. India, 1.3 billion, 8.2 million square kilometers of area, and they have 1.3 billion people. So Mr. President Trump should be thinking of how to get more people to come in to harvest the richness in the United States of America. But we are not here to talk about America, we're here to talk about Africa. So let's deal with our own problems. We have 30.2 million square kilometers of area. We have 1.2 billion in the continent, about 800 million in diaspora. We have not even gone out there to do a census for our brothers in diaspora. How many do we have in the United States of America? How many do we have in the Americas? How many do we have in the Caribbean? How many do we have in Europe? All right, so we're just guessing. So to a large extent, I believe strongly that until we harvest all of that and harness all of that, the whole world is in trouble. And they need us now because the world resources is shrinking. Human beings are becoming extremely and exceedingly greedy. All right, our needs are expanding and exploding because you are living in a world today that I remember iPhone 11 is selling more in Nigeria than anywhere in the world because they're a global community. You manufacture something today, everybody from all over the world wants it. So we need to harvest the world, the continent, but that has to be championed by Africans.
Wow. Thank you so very much. The person that brought that question up is doing thumbs up. Thank you. One last question. I see two people raising their hands if they're still raising it. There's one last question. They're asking, sir, that all of this thing sounds very glowing. Do we have demonstrated results or best practices that can help them to share in larger groups to be able to attract people? Because it sounds attainable based on the units of dollars that needs to start something. They're just asking that, are these best demonstrated practices safe? And I mean, can they really sell it to other people and trust that the process will be the process?
Well, you need to tell them. Okay, you can answer that question, Remi. All I know how to talk about are things I have done for 36 years. I started this movement in 1984. So everything I'm talking about is practical application. This is not theory. This is practical, from tourism to security to entertainment. And of course, you can tell them to reach you. We'll send you, and you have a few of these documents with you. We'll send you a lot more. When I came back to Nigeria many years ago, they had all kinds of legionnaires, retired people working as guards. So I started with employing only graduates because security is 85–90% brain and maybe 10–15% force. Covert operation is number one. It's the most important aspect of security. Overt is when you fail to do covert. So covert operations requires brains. So we had graduates, we kept them up properly, and we started corporate guards. It has generated over 10 million jobs all over Africa today because everybody has copied it. Everywhere you go to, in Lagos, all over Nigeria, in Ghana, the idea has caught on. And that is what we need to do, create things that will be a catalyst for development. So everything we talk about, you know how long you've been inviting me to come and speak in the US. I don't have time to talk. Okay, and I believe strongly that it's all about action. We need to come and roll up our sleeves and get things done. So all of this can be documented from 1984 till date. So tell them that they can link up with you after this webinar.
Okay.
So that you can share some information with them.
Okay. All right. Sorry, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, there's a panelist called Yabo. I call her Yabo. Okay.
Yeah.
She came to under the Motherland Beckons platform, I think about 2008 or 9, I can't remember now. And since then, she's been in and out of Africa, I would say a minimum of 25 to 30 times. All the way to Ghana, to South Africa, to Ethiopia. She's established here, so you can get her. She's online. She's part of the
she's
panel.
raising her hand. Actually, she's the next to speak. So I'm going to allow Miss Iyabode to talk. Over to you.
Her former name is Everthon.
Miss Everthon, over to you, please.
Good morning, all. I did not know I would be speaking today, but I do thank you and I welcome the opportunity. It's good to see you, sir, and Madam Remi.
Good to see you, sis.
But I can't see you. We want to see you, Yabo, so stop it. All right, but if you're not prepared for us to see you, go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure how to turn the camera on. This is still sort of new to me.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay. Where it says stop video, you just click on that. If there's a red line across, then you will be able to get it all white and we'll see you. Okay. I know.
No?
We still don't see, but you can go ahead with your question. We're still not seeing.
You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Okay, well, yes, well, I am, from the United States, and I have been to Africa multiple times, and I have been under the wing and the guidance of Dr. Olawanle for many years.
Please give us some volume, sister.
Oh, hold on, you can't hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you better, so yes.
Okay, sorry. I said I am from the United States, and I have been to Africa multiple times, and have been under the wing and the guidance of Dr. Olawanle for many years. And I can say for my first trip, I received the education about Africa that I definitely did not know as an American, which allowed me to come back to the States and speak of the continent in truth and reality versus what we've been told our entire lives here in the West by the Western world. And I've taken people over to the continent. Lots of people have interest, and again, COVID shut down a lot of movement we had coming back to the continent this year as well. But we are still working this side to come back over full strength as soon as humanly possible. So anyone who has an interest in investing in Africa, I would suggest you do it. Everything that we have been told on this side of the world has proven to be untrue. And we're told things to keep us ignorant and to keep us out of the continent and off of the continent. So I fully support any movement as it relates to investing, visiting, living, moving to Africa on the continent.
All right. Thank you so much, Eva. We do truly appreciate your input. I know we're a few minutes past our time. You cannot have an Otunba, Dr. Olawanle Akinboboye in the house and not take the most of the knowledge that you can get, not just for us listening now, other people that will take a decision. He's a man of action. Of course, he speaks so he can explain the action, but he doesn't just talk So for those of us who have heard, let's find out what is our own identity. Know who you are. Know whose you are. No more excuses of not knowing how to engage. There are a few things we've heard, and you will hear more from us. Once we get that information from him, we will share with all of the attendees, and those we will post it on our channel so that people can take advantage of what has been said. We will also be a gateway to some of the information. So if you miss anything and you wish to get clarity, you can reach out to us. We have access to his team. Of course, he doesn't have the time to engage with everybody, so we're honored today, but he has a beautiful team of leaders who can clearly respond to us. So, sir, any parting words for us so that we can go in your wisdom as we go take action and just make things happen?
Parting word, I would say that you cannot blame anyone for your woes but yourself. And I know for sure that it is almost impossible for anyone to take advantage of you if you don't want to be taken advantage of. I believe strongly that we need to look at ourselves first before we blame others. And we must really understand the true essence of life, which is basically about building the platform for tomorrow's people. It is not the wealth you leave for your community you worry about. It is a kind of community. So I thank you, Remi Duyile.
Wow, what a nice closing. I need not add any more than to just say thank you, sir. Thank you for your mentorship. Thank you for all the great work that you're doing. We're so proud of you, never getting tired, plugging away and even adding more feathers to your cap. Congratulations on your African Union assignment. What an addition. What a smart leader. Whoever did that, they are one of the smartest people. So I'm sure that we will be expectant of some active changes that can truly transform our Africa. Thank you so much, sir. We're going to call you again and again and again, but we promise it won't be to waste your time. This message will go out and there will be questions. So we'll have private meetings with people as the desires come. We will let you know and let your team see how they can get us on your schedule. So we thank you, sir. Enjoy your day. I see that view. I'm jealous. I see that because I know where you are. See, for those of you who have not been to that campaign, traffic.
It's deliberate. It's deliberate.
I'm jealous. You have to rub it in.
Well, you need to see how we are suffering in Africa. It's important that you see that we are
suffering.
Yes.
That is Africa. That is right. That's like I'm fine Tropicana. That's part of the view. The next time we do a show like this, maybe we'll do a little video about it, because some of you need to see these things. Talk is cheap, but when you see the actions, then we need to take advantage of this. To my African American brothers and sisters, my friends, I've lived here for over 37 years, so you all are more family than anything else. Let's go and stand on that second leg, that leg of our Africa, and go with trusted channels, and together we can make the world a better place. Thank you all very much. God bless you. Thank you very much, sir. I had to end in my dialect. So you have to know your origin. Coco, I'm an Ondo girl too. So I had to rub that in. But thank you very much, sir. We really do appreciate your mentorship. That means a lot to me when I look back and I know I have the likes of you behind me. So I'm like, don't look at me like I'm just little old Remi. I got some power behind me. And you are one of those people that I know have groomed us to be able to stand to the powers to be and speak the truth and do work for the betterment of our continent. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you. God bless you. Thank you to all our participants. Stay tuned. You'll hear from us. Let's take action, and God bless you all. Thank you.